She made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. And she said, do you come from a land
Oh, crikey! Oh, sorry, students. I didn't realize you had come to class already. Oh, the video was rolling. Sure enough, I see it right there. Good thing that it happened to me earlier when I was out in the bush, you know, wrangling snakes and snuts. So there was this massive prince snake I picked up, and sure enough, he spun on me. He tried to get me. Oh, man, but I avoided him so I could be here with you. That snake, he had massive, venomous syringes full of enough poison to kill 100 blokes me size and bigger. But sure enough, I dodged him. I'm here. I was just listening to one of the great Australian dance hits of all time, coming from a land down under. It's all we play here in the clubs. We just dance to that song again and again and again. It's the best. All right. Well, today we're ending up your passage here on Jesus going over across the Sea of Galilee to the east side, where we have a man possessed by many demons. Oh my, what a wild story. Even I think that was pretty wild. All right. So, I think last time when your teacher told me you left off was that this demon had introduced himself to Jesus and he said, my name's Legion, for I'm many. Oh my goodness, students, could you imagine such a thing? Sure enough. So, that's where we left off there, verse 12. Let's see what happens here in verse 13. Et concessere statum Jesus. Sorry, students, it's hard for me sometimes to pronounce it authentically in the Latin, but maybe Caesar sounded like me. Who knows? All right. So, Jesus might nominative, and what he did was he conceded to them. That is, he permitted them, because, you see, the demons have been asking to be sent out into that flock of pigs, that herd of pigs over there. Similarly, I was watching the Nile River, watching a huge gathering of Nile crocs. They were eating a rotten hippopotamus. You could check it out online. It was terrifying. Well, this demon named Legion has asked Jesus to send him into all these porcos, these pigs, these porky pigs, you see, just like you watch on the cartoons. All right. So Jesus immediately allowed it to them. He conceded to them. He said, sure, go get them pigs over there. All right, so they go out, sure enough. Exeunte spiritus in Monday. Notice here, students, we've got a plural, that they're going out. The unclean spirits went into the pigs. We don't know what that means, but apparently demons can possess animals. Like this one time, I was out in the bush over yonder, and sure enough, I found a baby dingo whose paw had been caught in a trap. So he was trying to get himself out of the trap, and his mad dingo was trying to chew his leg off. Well, I tried to fight the mouth so I could get the baby's paw out of the trap. And you know what? I did it successfully, and that was the closest I can think of when I was fighting a demon-like situation. All right, so these demons, pardon me, go into these pigs and at great and magno impetum. Now this is kind of cool. It's probably an ablet of a manna with a great charge. That is a great rushing. They're making their way quickly. This is the manner in which they're doing it. The flock, the herd of pigs, the Greeks, pardon me, the herd rushed into the sea. You can see the word precipitate, or maybe the word precipice in there. With a great rush, the herd rushed into the sea. And then this, we have an expression here, about 2,000 pigs. So this is a massive flock of pigs that's being added over there on the east side of the Galilee. And these legion of demons apparently possess the whole flock, 2,000 porkers rushing down into the sea. And what happens? Well, the demons and the pigs, they can't swim. And that's actually really important in the ancient world. If you know your ancient Greek and Roman history, not to mention your Bible, what you'll see there is that demons and spirits don't like the water. So one time, if you know this, well, it's another story for another time. All right, so that's what happened. So sure enough, they were suffocated. They were drowned in the sea in plus ablative. wow, what a miracle. Jesus has cast out these demons from this bloke. And now they've drowned these pigs in the sea. Well, what happened next? And those who were feeding them, that is, those who were feeding the sheep, these were the shepherds out there in the bush on the east side of the Sea of Galilee. They fled. Oh no, students, what are they up to do? They're about to go tell on Jesus, I suppose. Let's see. Sure enough, oh, that's what I expected. These cowards running over to the city. They announced in the city, neat little use of in plus the accusative. That is, it's almost like they're running into the city and they're announcing as they're going. In plus accusative. They're running into that city and they're claiming the news. And in the fields on the way. So they're not just saying it in downtown, they're saying it in the fields. They're telling, well, these pigs just gonna run off down into the river, head over heels like. Oh my, all right. And they came out. Who came out? Well, the city. Sure enough, all the citizens and all the farmers like, and all the country folk, they came out to see. Now, in classical Latin, this would be a purpose, ut viderunt, so that they could see. But that's not what we've got here in the Vulgate. We've got an infinitive of purpose here. They came out to see. What did they want to see? They wanted to see what had happened. They're going to go check it out like it's a tourism trap. Like for sometimes people come to me crocodile wrestling matches and I just see what's going on. Like maybe the croc will get me arm. Well, that hasn't happened yet. So they're going to see what had happened. And here we've got asset, which we can see with fuckty is a pluperfect, passive, subjunctive. Now we could ask students, what is a subjunctive? Crikey, that verb's right there. But why is it there? Well, it's because it's an indirect question. You see, they were going to see what had happened. And if there was a direct question, of course, they'd be asking what had happened. But we've got an indirect question. They were going to see what had happened. So they came to Jesus. And let's see what Jesus is doing. They saw him. Now, this is an important element here, students. This isn't Jesus. This is a flipper. I don't do much with dolphins. Pardon me. I'm sweating, so I've been out in the bush. I told you. When I was out in the bush, I didn't explain yet while I'm wearing my glasses. You see, when I was out in the bush, I got a fight with a kangaroo, and it gave me a big right hook right to me eye. So I got a black eye from my kangaroo friend. I gave him one of myself. Yeah, all right. Anyway, so I put on my glasses so you didn't see me black eye all during the video. All right, back to the text. They saw him. That is not Jesus, because Jesus had already been a direct object. This is a different him. They saw him, relative clause, who had been upset by the demon. Notice our imperfect passive. He was the one who had been upset by the demon. He had been possessed by the demon. What do? They see him. And you know they recognize him, students, because they've tried to bind him and tie him up with chains and shackles so he can't move about. They saw him, and look at it, he was sitting. This is a present active participle, which says that when they see him, he's sitting. Pardon me, me eye, me black eye. They see him sitting, and he's clothed. He's not naked. Which maybe this gives us a clue, students, that earlier he'd been running about naked. Goodness me, what a wild creature he had been. He was clothed and of sane mind, of a healthy mind. You see, students, what they knew is they knew this man to be absolutely wild, absolutely a terror, out of control and such. But now, when they come to see what had happened, the farmers, the ranchers, the pork shepherds had told them that these porkers had rushed down into the sea and all drowned. They said, my goodness, we lost 2,000 sheep. Pardon me, Steve. They come out and they see the man that they had hated, maybe, that kept them up at nights with his screaming. Like, you know how the big bats do. They see him, and he's no longer crazy. He's out of a sane mind, and he's no longer naked. Rather, he's clothed, and he's sitting there at the feet of Jesus. Students, could you imagine? Wouldn't they give thanks to the God who would save them from such terrors? Well, let's see what the text says. They were terrified. Students, they don't give thanks. They're terrified. My goodness. I imagine one time I saw this little girl and a croc was going right at this lass. Then I pulled him by the tail and drug him away from her. And she wasn't terrified. She had been terrified already, and now she was thankful. Now she didn't have that terrible creature terrifying her. But instead, this story is the exact opposite, students. They were terrified that the man's sane and clothed and sitting rather than screaming. What a text. Crikey, it's a mystery. All right. And they told them. Who are the they? Oh, this is a little tricky. They told them who had seen what had been done, what they had seen just as it had happened. Oh my goodness, students. They who had seen what had happened told them. Let me walk through it one more time. They told to them. Who are the they? They who had seen just as it had happened told them. They told, pardon me, them. And he who had the demon, and to them, probably like to them about him who had the demon, to him who had the demon, and about the pigs. So they tell the story. This is what happened. This man runs up to the sea like a madman, falls at the feet of Jesus, and then Jesus does some kind of magic, I don't know, some such trick, and then the pigs rush down the sea, head over heels, into the ocean. They get drowned. That's what they tell them. So what happens? Last verse. And they ask him what? No, they began to ask him. Goodness me, students, it's an indirect command. What are they going to ask him? I imagine they'd say, stay here, heal us, stay here, be our God, stay here, teach us about your ways. What do they say? They beg him, they ask him, they began to ask him to leave from their borders, to leave their territory. Oh my goodness, students, what a mysterious text we've got. Sure enough, this man, this God man, saved them from the one who had been terrorizing their land. And they ask him to get away, get on out of here. What a mystery. Well, I suppose your teacher will have to talk to you about it next time. That's it for me. It's nighttime here on the opposite side of the world. I just need to brush my teeth with me Vegemite, so that I've got me barley whites in the morning. Yeah. All right, students. Thank you for your time in your lesson. Goodbye.